Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 11.
Good evening, I'm Denise Jefferson. Thank you for joining us. I'm filling in for Renetta Dubose. Coverage you can count on begins with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office investigating a call of shots fired at the Augusta Mall. That call came in around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Deputies were on scene and determined that no one fired a gun, but someone may have brandished a firearm, and several shoppers ran into the parking lot. News Channel 6 was on the scene shortly after receiving a tip from someone at the mall. We spoke with a few shoppers who were there when the chaos erupted.
We were in Hot Topic, and I was looking at some bags, and I hear stopping, and I look up and I see a woman with her stroller running, and then that's when I see a bunch of people behind her running, and the lady closed the doors and they told us to go to the back. We waited for a good while until we got the okay from securities to come out.
No injuries have been reported. It is believed that someone may have brandished a firearm, leading mall patrons to evacuate the mall. 2 deadly shootings under investigation in Augusta. According to the coroner's office, the first shooting took place at 10th and Broad Street, where 21-year-old Logan Adderley was shot at least once. The victim died at the scene. The second shooting took place at 11th and Grand Boulevard. That victim was 19-year-old Jaquan Gunter. He was shot at least once and died at the scene as well. An autopsy is scheduled at the GBI lab. Right now, authorities say it's not clear whether the 2 incidents are connected. Adderley made headlines in 2020 when he was shot during an altercation at a Circle K in Evans. Count on News Channel 6 to keep you updated on this developing story. Those shootings downtown Sunday morning came just hours after the March for Our Lives rally at the Unitarian Universalist Church. News Channel 6's Kim Vickers has more on what people are saying about the recent gun violence.
I don't feel safe in this country. Like, I just came back from Korea. I felt perfectly fine, keeping my wallet on just any normal bar. And then if I go down the street, I have to look behind me every 10 steps. It's ridiculous.
Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. No more silence and gun violence.
Hours after a rally to end gun violence, 2 young men lost their lives after being shot. 19-year-old Jaquan Gunter was shot and killed off 11th Street, and 21-year-old Logan Adderley died at 10th and Broad. David Peltier says the city needs more deputies than it has to keep the violence at bay.
I think we really need to continue to invest in the Sheriff's Office. They've been really understaffed the last few years with having a lot of deputies not being able to be everywhere at all times. And so I think, we need to really push for the Augusta Commission and our local government officials to really invest more in the Sheriff's Office.
Michael Pine says the problem with rising gun violence isn't just a local problem.
I mean, it's definitely something that's centric to America in the first place, and especially with school shootings that have been happening on a monthly basis, we definitely at this time need to do something about gun reform.
Pine isn't convinced lawmakers will do anything different than they have been. Peltier disagrees.
I think we're starting to see a lot more parties from both sides come to the table. I know there are some senators right now in Washington working on some bipartisan legislation on that.
March for Our Lives CSRA responded to Sunday's shooting, saying in part, every time a gun is used to take a life, the need to address gun violence and safety concerns is reinforced. Enough is enough. Our hearts go out to the family and friends of these 2 young men and all who have experienced this type of loss. Pine says nothing will change until the laws do.
No parent should ever have to bury a child. And again, that goes back to Congress. Our laws, our lawmakers, they need to fix this.
In Augusta, Kim Vickers, WJBF, News Channel 6.
Tonight, friends and family remembered the life of Logan Adderley, one of the 2 people killed in shootings this weekend. The 21-year-old was shot and killed on 10th and Broad Street early Sunday morning. That's where friends and family placed a memorial for him. Adderley was also shot in 2020 during an altercation at a Circle K in Evans. His friends say he was shot defending someone else.
He would never walk by and see somebody else struggling without picking him up. Like I said, he's one of the best friends I've ever had my whole life.
A balloon release is planned for Logan on Tuesday. Now it's time to take a look at your weather forecast with our meteorologist Ryan Gold. And Ryan, cooling down a little bit after a very hot Sunday.
Yeah, it's a little bit better out there, but that humidity is so high that it still feels disgusting. disgusting. Honestly, it's the best word I could use for it, and I hate to have to. It's just absolutely gross out there, and it's going to be feeling very gross over the next few days as well. Jiffy Lube Skycam is clearing up a little bit with our skies, but it is still a little bit cloudy here and there. Current temperature at 81 degrees, still very, very warm. We're probably not going to get into those 70s until much later into the night, but we do expect to be at least in the mid-70s. By 6 a.m., we are going to have plenty of that sunshine, though, as well to start the day, and as we continue on throughout the day, it's going to get even hotter and stickier. We are expecting to get pretty much on that borderline of sticky and muggy, and today was no different. We actually surpassed that sticky range and went well into it, and looks like that's going to be the case over the next few days as well, especially with that heat that we're still getting. High pressure is going to be moving in. It's going to be trapping in the heat, trapping in that moisture, and we're not going to really be seeing any relief to it for quite a while. But it does look like we do still have some good news with that. It will be sunny, at least for the most part, on certain days. I'll get into that coming up in the full forecast. Janisa.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan. March for Our Lives CSR Right was just yesterday. People were out taking a stand against the ongoing gun violence in Augusta. Elizabeth Hahn helped organize a March for Our Lives rally in 2018 at the request of her daughter and some friends. This came after the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Hahn says she and her fellow organizers can't believe they're here again.
As moms and then me as a public school teacher, this issue is affecting our community in countless ways. Gun violence in our schools, gun violence in our grocery stores, at our movie theaters, at our malls, at our hospitals. I mean, just this is getting so out of control at this point that I think it's important to be visible again.
Firefighters were on the scene of an abandoned structure fire today at Pine Log Road in Aiken. Nearby structures were initially thought to be in danger, but officials say for now they are okay. No injuries have been reported. This morning, a missionary spoke at Stevens Creek Church about his work with orphanages around the world. Coleman Bailey has worked with orphans all over the world, including Africa and Ukraine. He was in Africa helping to build a new orphanage when the war in Ukraine started. He flew out immediately and helped to relocate 9 orphanages and nearly 350 orphans to other parts of Europe. He says working with the kids humbles him.
One of the kids they asked me if they could pray, and I said yeah. His name was Daniel. And Daniel's prayer was, God, thank you so much I never have to sleep in a bomb shelter again. Thank you so much I never have to hear an air raid siren again.
Bailey adds the people of Ukraine know that many Americans are doing what they can to aid in the war effort, and they are grateful. Now to the nationwide gas price shock, the average reaching $5 a gallon across the U.S. And that's just part of the worsening inflation outlook. Here's Deidre Bolton with more.
Price for a tank of regular gas is $5.01 a gallon, up 62% nationwide from this time last year. And from families to businesses, it's taking a toll.
I don't know how much longer anybody can continue doing something like this.
Some experts warning prices are likely to go higher from here, and an event like a hurricane could make things worse.
I think those would be the types of events that would get us to $6 a gallon.
The president doubling down, placing some of the blame on the war in Ukraine.
And we're trying very hard to make sure that we've significantly increased the number of barrels of oil that are being pumped out of the reserve we have.
Some small businesses like this trucking company in Texas say they're being hit especially hard.
You just have to, cut those profits, in half, just about.
With higher fuel prices and soaring inflation at 8.6%, combined with supply chain issues, even big box retailers are taking a hit.
They overordered, things were stuck on boats during the supply chain issues, and now they have a lot of extra things. Everything retailers need to do more expensive. So pretty much across the board, there's no type of business that is not being impacted by inflation right now.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Kraft informed its customers this week that prices will go up for many of its products, like Miracle Whip, Classico pasta sauce, and Maxwell House coffee. And to make up for that, shoppers say they're cutting back significantly across the budget, with the top categories including dining out and personal shopping. New Jersey mom Courtney Dunlop says she keeps a close eye on sales when going to the grocery store.
These are the kinds of deals that I have to get. Look at this. It was originally $7.99, minus $3 now. Woo-hoo, $4.99.
Coming up next, Ryan Gold has this week's full forecast. Stay with us.